I, 35M, was married to my ex-wife, 34F, for 7 years. 2 years ago, she came out as a lesbian. To say this was a shock would be an understatement. She had an affair with her co-worker, who is now her wife, for an entire year before our divorce. We have an 8-year-old son together, and at the time, I was completely devastated. I felt like the last 7 years of my life had been a lie. When I confronted her about the affair, she hit me with the "I had to live my truth" speech, saying she had repressed her identity until she met her now wife. When I asked if she ever truly loved me, she said she did, but not like that. That statement shattered me even more. The divorce itself was quick. She didn't ask for anything, and we agreed on 50-50 custody. But emotionally, I was wrecked. I sold our house because every inch of it reminded me of her betrayal. I moved in with my sister, 27F, who became my rock, handling custody exchanges so I didn't have to see my ex. For the first 6 months, I spiraled into depression. No matter how much I analyzed everything, I realized this was one of those situations where nothing I did would have changed the outcome. The vows she made, the promises, the whispered forevers on our wedding night, all a lie. The two people who pulled me out of my lowest point were my sister and my college ex-girlfriend. We reconnected at a reunion 4 months after my divorce, and she became a lifeline for me as a friend. About a year after my divorce, we started officially dating, and I introduced her to my son. Meanwhile, my ex-wife kept her wife's presence in my son's life minimal, not because of me, but because she wanted to ease him into the new reality. My son is at that weird age where he understands what's going on, but doesn't really understand it. He knows mommy has a girlfriend. He knows that mommy and daddy aren't together. And honestly, he was doing fine. We hadn't even needed to have a major conversation about LGBTQ+ topics. He just accepted it as is normal. 8 months ago, my ex told me she was officially moving in with her partner. Then, she dropped the next bombshell. They were getting married, in Spain, where her new wife is from. At first, I didn't care. But then she said she wanted to take our son, which would mean pulling him out of school for a week. I told her that missing an entire week of school for a wedding made no sense, and suggested she plan it during his school vacation. She argued that their schedule wouldn't align with his breaks, and that they were getting married ASAP. At that point, I was tired. So I relented. Fine. Take him. When my son came back, she dropped another bomb. She wanted to take him on their honeymoon. I put my foot down. Absolutely not. She had already had him for 2 weeks. I had taken vacation days to spend time with him, planning a trip to a motorcycle expo and a massive Lego building weekend, his favorite things. She argued that he needed more time to bond with her wife. I told her she had already had 2 weeks for that. Her response? We were busy with the wedding. Tough luck. She left, angry, and I spent an amazing weekend with my son. A few weeks later, I saw that my ex had posted a photo shoot of her wife, and my son on social media under the caption, #lesbianmommy's_red_heart. Something about that didn't sit right with me. I didn't say anything, but when I picked up my son, I asked him if his mom had been saying anything new to him. At first, he hesitated. Then he confessed. His mom had been trying to convince him to call her wife mom. I was livid. I asked him how he felt about it, and he said he didn't want to. He liked calling her by her first name. He thought having 2 moms was weird. I reassured him. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Then, I called my ex and told her we needed to talk. When I confronted her, she said, well, she is his mom now. It's only natural. I shot that down immediately. She's not his mom. She's your wife. She doesn't have an active parenting role in his life. Any major parenting decisions go through the 2 of us, not her. She then hit me with the wildest argument yet. Well, what if you and your girlfriend get serious? Wouldn't you want him to call her mom too? I laughed. I actually laughed. No, he has 2 parents. He doesn't need more. Then she dropped the real bombshell. We were actually hoping that down the line, we could file for adoption. Adoption? As in, signing away my parental rights. I nearly lost it. Absolutely not. Our partners have no say in our kids' lives. Period. And then she pulled the homophobia card. You're just against this because we're lesbians. You're denying us the right to a real family. I shut that down immediately. Your life is your choice. But our son's life is our decision, ours, not yours and your wife's. I ended the conversation there and told my son to let me know if his mom ever tried to pressure him into anything again. 2 weeks later, I found out that my ex had enrolled our son in Spanish lessons. For context, my ex is Latina, and her wife is Spanish. We had agreed to raise our son in English, since my ex barely spoke Spanish fluently, and I didn't speak it at all. I asked my son if he wanted to do it, and he said he hated it. When I confronted my ex, she made some bullshit excuse about wanting him to connect with his heritage. But after pushing, she finally admitted the truth. They were planning to move to Spain in a few years. They were trying to prepare him, and if I agreed to adoption, they could legally take him. I lost it. You divorced me, left me for another woman, and now you expect me to hand over my child? What world do you live in? She backed down hard. She never expected me to fight back. I made one thing clear. If you try to take my son from me, I will sue for full custody. She panicked. She hadn't considered that. She agreed to drop it. Final steps. I'm documenting everything now. I've installed a parenting app to track our interactions. I've laid down strict boundaries. And if she ever tries anything again, I will fight. I love my son, and I am not losing him.